Can you find your dream woman in a club or a bar? This is a topic that was requested by a subscriber, and in the last video I made, he left a comment here basically saying, can you make a video on this topic? So without further ado, let's get right into it. And there are three things I'm going to cover. Number one, is it possible to meet your dream woman in a club? Number two, I'm going to break down the reality of the club lifestyle and the conclusion on that. And thirdly, are there any exceptions where you can find a good woman at a club? So, let's begin. Is it possible to meet a woman in these environments? That could be your dream woman, your future wife, a girlfriend. Generally speaking, the answer is no. But, however, there is a small exception where this is possible, which is what I'm going to break down in the video. So, going clubbing, partying, or bar hopping, it's common amongst those in their late teens and young people in their early 20s. Now, I know some of my viewers are Americans, and over there you cannot drink alcohol until you're 21. Over here in Europe, most people can start drinking anywhere between the ages of 16 to 18. But regardless, most young people are going to go to clubs and parties and bars from a young age. Most men and women grow out of clubbing or partying after college, after leaving university, or simply aging, right? Once you get to your mid or late 20s, most people, you kind of realize, you know what? Clubbing and partying, that lifestyle, it's too much. It's not right for me. This is why you go to a club or a bar when you're young and you see some 30 or 40-year-old, they just look at a place. But furthermore, my question to the viewer is, what sort of man are you if you are frequenting nightclubs or bars, expecting to find your dream woman? So let's start with the basics. What is the reality of the club lifestyle? Okay, so nightclubs, more so than bars, are often centered around pleasure, entertainment, and escapism rather than finding the love of your life. If you're seeking a relationship built on long-term commitment, faith, or moral principles, you want to meet a woman that shares those values as you. Nightclubs, house parties, bars are not right. They're not the sort of environment that align with a quality woman, or a quality man for that matter, especially nowadays. In those environments, people are not looking to foster those values, okay, that align with marriage and having a family. Okay, this is common sense. Nightclubs and bars encourage the use of excessive alcohol, drug use, immodesty, and even casual sexual encounters are fostered in these environments. Just like it says in the Bible, 1 Corinthians 15:33, bad company corrupts good character. So if you're a man seeking a good woman, you are better off looking elsewhere. Okay? And a woman with good values is also going to avoid attending any places that could potentially promote or induce lust, intoxication, or compromise of morals. We hear stories all the time of people go to clubs and how it works out for them. So even if a young man or woman starts out innocently going to the club or going to the bar on the weekends, maybe due to peer pressure over time, even if they don't like the lifestyle, if you go to those places enough times, then eventually, maybe not the first 2, 3, 5 times, but 10, 20, 50, 100 times over the course of a couple of years, what happens? Then the girl becomes, the town bicycle, right? She's ran through. Or everybody knows that guy who goes clubbing, every Saturday he's getting a different woman in bed. This is lifestyle will lead you down a path of promiscuity, regret, and low self-esteem. And especially like with young people, this starts off when you're young. Okay? I know from my experience, I went to a few clubs when I was 17, 18, 19. And I used to drink alcohol back then. I quit when I was 19. It's been years. And I've never looked back. It was one of the best decisions to quit and put that past behind me. But the few times that I went clubbing, it was because the friends that I had at the time encouraged me. Oh, come on, come out for the weekend. Don't be weird, spend time with us. And I did go out. And everywhere I looked, people are drinking, people are smoking, they're taking drugs, different people are making out with each other. You hear stories and you see people hooking up. Sometimes some of these men or women were known to be in relationships and they're being unfaithful to their partner. It's disgusting. And I saw that lifestyle. I felt very uncomfortable. I went a few times and said, you know what, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And I distanced myself from those people. Thank goodness I didn't make any mistakes, you know. But it's like, it's not a good lifestyle. And I wasn't the only one. There's a lot of young, sweet girls or young, innocent guys that are going to the club a few times because you don't know any better. It's the first time you're at college, at university, first time you're away from home. You want to fit in, you want to be social, you want to meet new people. Maybe you're even excited to meet someone new of the opposite sex. So you go to a club or a venue hoping you meet someone. And there are good people where that happens, but that is rare. But generally speaking, if you stay in this environment for a long time, even the ones that start off innocent, they don't end up that way. Next up is nightclubs or bars can encourage people to wear masks. Literally, okay, and figuratively. Many people in these settings may not present their true selves, but instead put on a persona driven by the environment's social dynamics. This can lead a woman to become superficial, materialistic, and vain in her choosing of a man due to the influence of a club lifestyle. If she's a sweet girl and she starts going to the club and all she has is horny guys that are hitting on her, flirting with her, pumping and dumping her, manipulating her, that wears away at her values. And she has to put on a tough environment, a tough mask to protect herself. That's why a lot of those women become very masculine, or they give up thinking there's no good men because they've damaged themselves. And they just become ruthless. They become gold diggers. They become very selfish and vain. But likewise, we see that clubs can also degrade men into becoming walking, talking, insecure flexes, showing off their wealth. You know, you see these guys flexing at the club, trying to show off their wealth, talking about their money. They'll buy a nice watch or nice clothes. And all this does is impress and attract the other superficial women. To a good woman, it signals insecurity, right? But a lot of guys, they don't know any better. They think they have to go to a club and flex to get a woman. And all of this showing off, and even all of these pickup artists, which sadly, there's all these modern dating coaches, red pillars and such, that teach men manipulation tactics to deceive innocent or young women into sexual encounters. And quite frankly, the quality of women you get that can be manipulated are not the best. It's disgusting, but this lifestyle is entirely avoidable if you simply never enter those venues ever again. But this is the reality of a club or a party lifestyle. So if you really think you're going to find a good woman going to these places, there's so many other places you could go to where there's much better women. And if you're a guy and you're going to these places and you're like, I can't find a good woman, I mean, what do you expect? Why are you going there? So my conclusion is this. If you're seeking someone authentic, with integrity, a future spouse perhaps, this setting is not conducive for you. You're not going to see a woman's true character in a club. There's masks, there's wounds she could have. It's like, how many stories have you heard from friends and family? I mean, you hear it all the time. People go to the clubs or bars, girls getting ran through, you know, it's like, it's a mess. Drugs, alcohol, you're around bad people, you're around bad influence. That's not right. So meeting someone in an environment that promotes honesty, humility, and accountability is more aligned with finding a virtuous woman who lives her life according to righteous principles. The reality is, 99% of the time, you are not going to find a woman that's wife material in a club. Good men understand this. And hey, good women understand this too. No good woman is going to want to commit to you if they find out you're a club or a party girl. Plus, clubs are more for single people. Clubs, bars, these are venues that were originally created to bring young, single people together. There are rare exceptions where it works out, which we're going to get into, but what it's become nowadays with the degeneracy, it's gotten worse. Okay. So, next up. Are there any exceptions where you can find a good woman at a club? Well, there is. There are very rare exceptions where maybe a young man and a young woman go to a club or a bar once or a few times because of peer pressure, not because they're deep in the immoral lifestyle. So what happens is, perhaps right place, right time, you're a young guy, you're at uni, you're at college, you're at the dorms, you're in the frat group or whatever, or you started a new job somewhere and they've all invited you out for drinks at the venue and you go to be polite and social. And it just so happens that right place, right time, you come across a woman who, she's in the same situation as you. College friends or something like that encouraged her to go out this weekend. And just like that, you meet, you start talking, and you realize you both kind of talk to each other and come to the conclusion that you like each other, but you don't want to be in the club. Neither does she. Do you want to go somewhere else, grab a drink, and actually get to know each other away from all this degeneracy? That's where it can work out. And I know, especially back in the day, before social media was a thing, before smartphones and all of that, a lot of young people would go to clubs and they met their husband or their wife there. But back then, it's not what it's become now. Now it's a vanity competition. It's become very immoral. Not to saying there wasn't bad things going on in clubs or parties 20, 30 years ago, absolutely. But now, it's on a whole different level. But there is the exception. Maybe she's a sweet girl who's gone to the club, it's her second or first time, and she's only going because it's all she knows to go out with friends. You're 18, she's 18, you're both 20, you're young, you don't know any better. But you're going out because you go out. It doesn't mean she's sleeping around or she has her body count. Maybe she's a sweet girl who has dignity, but she goes out on occasion with her friends, maybe to have one drink or just to be in a social setting, because a lot of girls don't know any better. And quite frankly, guys, a lot of those women that are going to clubs, once they get a boyfriend or a man they love, that lifestyle disappears. They don't want that anymore. Same thing for a lot of you guys that are clubbing and partying. If you had the woman of your dreams, you wouldn't be out there on the weekends, would you now? So again, this exception can happen, that you do come across a woman, right place, right time, you meet at the club, you start talking, and you come to realize that this party life is not for you. So you both start dating each other, and next thing you know, that party life is put behind you. In conclusion, if you're a young man and you're at college, university, or at work, and you're invited to a club or a bar, proceed with caution, but be mindful of how you proceed. Okay, observe your surroundings, look at the environment, and if you start a conversation with a woman you find attractive, ask her questions to assess her values and reasons for being at the venue. Hey, I'm new in town, and this is my first time going to the bar. I'm not really a guy who drinks. I'm not really the type of guy who goes to clubs. I just thought I'd come with my new colleagues or, associates or friends, just so I could get out on the weekend and learn more about this new place. If you say it just like that, it's a good opener. And if she tells you, I love going out and partying all the time, this is my lifestyle, next. But if she tells you, yeah, me too, I don't really like this environment, I'm just kind of here as well, it's good to know that you have the same values. Yeah, this really isn't for me. Then you can spark a connection. But definitely observe, because typically the women that dress more modestly, the women that are more comfortable dancing on the stage by themselves, or they're downing drinks, or they're more comfortable leaving their drink on their own, are typically the women that are more experienced because they've been to clubs or bars frequently, or if a woman comes up to approach you, these are more masculine women that have been through multiple men because they've got no shame. The women that are softer and more feminine, and you can see they're more innocent and they don't really belong there, they're going to be more quiet, they're going to be maybe sitting in one location with their friends, they don't really get up, they're not really putting themselves out there too much in the environment. They're kind of like softer and they're more peaceful, right? But if there's attraction, you're going to share eye contact, there's going to be non-verbal signs of physical desire, and then you could make a genuine approach and spark a conversation. So, gentlemen, that is the only exception where you can find a good woman at a club or a bar. It's right place, right time. It's typically you and the woman are both young, inexperienced, and you don't like going there, but you just happen to be there because of peer pressure or whatever happens to be. And then it kind of evolves into a commitment and a relationship, and you put that past behind you. Because the reality is, if you are, and this goes for everybody watching, if you are boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, or husband and wife, there is no reason to be going to a nightclub or a bar. Ever. Okay? If you are in a commitment, you should never put yourself willingly in an environment where single, lustful women can be near you, or if your woman respects you, she should never willingly put herself in an environment where single, horny guys can come and hit on her. Any man or woman with decency and integrity knows this. So these are things you need to establish with a woman. But if you are somebody that does frequent clubs and bars, and you haven't really been affected yet by the alcohol, the drugs, the promiscuity, the one thing leads to another, be careful. Because the longer you invest, this is a risk that you're taking. And remember, good women don't want club or party guys. It's the same way that us guys don't want club sluts or party girls. Be very careful of what you are involving yourself with. There is a small window when people are young and they're immature and they go to the club and they don't know what they're doing. They get a free pass, but you grow out of it. If you've gone to a club a few times and you don't like it, I personally would just never go back if I were you. That's what I did. You're not going to find a wife here. Usually. But if you're both young, you're at college, you're in an environment where you kind of know the people, you can kind of vet and ask questions and see. Because maybe she's young and dumb and she's immature and she's going there because her friends told her to. But if she had a man like you, she wouldn't want to be going there anymore. Talk, ask questions and see where it goes. But personally, I would just leave the club, party or bar life completely behind me. Go to a more modest venue, a more higher end venue where people with maybe better morals and more class attend. The reality is clubs and parties don't work out for everyone. Even in house parties, there's a lot of degeneracy going on. It just depends on the quality of the people. So proceed with caution. That is my advice to you. And I've just covered the exception, and it's true. There are some rare exceptions where this does work out. It's not optimal, but it can happen. A lot of young people, quite frankly, if you're young watching this in your late teens or early 20s, the only time in your life you're going to be around people in your age range that are single and looking to meet someone is going to be in college, university, when you first start working somewhere. That's usually when people are single, it's their first time away from home, and if they have good enough values and they're going to a club or a bar or any other venue or any other social setting in the college or university environment, there's a chance that you might find someone. Okay? You don't want to be that creep who's 30 or 40 going to college campuses trying to pick up girls that are half your age. Is disgusting and weird. But if you're a young guy, 18, 19, 20, you can find a good woman in your age range in these environments, providing the feminism and the promiscuity hasn't got to her yet. Okay? So be careful, proceed with caution, and be mindful about the choices you make. Can you find your dream woman in a club? There's a 1% chance. Personally speaking, I wouldn't do it. There are so many other better places where you can meet a good woman. And the club or a bar is not going to be one of them. But with that said, hope you've enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Any other questions or stuff you would like to add to this topic. And with that said, have a wonderful day. I'll see you all in the next one.